Okay. It worked the first time. Okay. Good, good. I didn't want to have to start over again. So, my name is Patrick. The channel name is Jack Crafty. Yes, two different names. Um, I've got over 2,000 videos. If you think I might have covered something, just do a search for Jack Crafty and whatever you think I might have covered. I have live streams 3 times a week. Hey, Ashia is here. First one. Hey, hey. I got live streams 3 times a week, mainly for members and loyal subscribers, but anyone can join in. I typically just answer questions and read the chat. Hey, Harley's here. Smallzilla. Alan Cole is here. And I also do Flintknapping now on every live stream. It's a mix. So don't be looking only for Flintknapping because there's a mix of chat and napping. And don't be looking only for chat because I do Flintknapping too. Alina Sundragon is here. Hello. Bren is here. Stidley Designs. You guys are on time. Right on time. Harley says, just sat down for my lunch break with some grilled chicken and red peppers. Alrighty. Got some taco sauce on it. And I get to watch the live stream. Yes, yes. Frodo Joe is here. Harold. He made it. Yeah. You got the number 2 crown today. Yeah, so my channel is mainly about Flintknapping, but I try to cover other topics. I try to. Like, making arrows or making bows, but I haven't done any bows or not. I don't know if I've done any bows on the channel. I want to. Anyway, I got into Flintknapping because of archery, my interest in archery, but Flintknapping has taken over everything. Yeah, Flintknapping just moved in, took over the whole place. Frodo Joe says, I had blood flying with my stone saw today. Oh, dang, that's not supposed to do that. The stone saw is supposed to be easy to use without cutting yourself, supposedly. Yeah. So, what do I got for napping today? I got 2 chunkers. One is Georgetown. It's just a very difficult piece. It's cracked because it's a quarry piece of Georgetown where the machinery in the quarry really do a number on the flint and break it all up. But it can still be napped into arrowheads if you can get a nice flake. And then some Coastal Plains Flint River chert from Georgia. I got this from Jeff Head, and I got this at a nap-in that someone was just giving away. Yeah, I forget who is giving this Georgetown away. And you can see why, because it's all chunky and it might not even be good on the inside. So let's do the Georgetown first. Yeah, and it's actually flint. I got 2 pieces. This is Georgetown flint, and it's flint because it forms within chalk. Okay, mic check. Let's see. Let me know if the microphone's working, please. If not, I'll turn it on and off. Smallzilla or Harley, he just made a handful of bottle glass points. Was able to single flute a Clovis from a brown bottle bottom. That makes 2 for me. Single flute Clovises are cool. Yeah. Haven't made any real flutes yet. Yeah, it doesn't matter. On a Clovis, they're actually thinning flakes. If it's really long, narrow, then it's a flute, and usually only Cumberlands and Folsoms have those. Jay Valentine or Valente is here. Hey Jay, afternoon. Harley says, "Don't think about it when you do it; it'll mess it up." Yes, yes. And I was thinking about that yesterday. Like if you try to draw a straight line on a piece of paper, right? You can practice and you can draw eventually straight lines without a ruler, just short straight lines. But if you start thinking about it while you're drawing the straight line, you mess it up. Same with cutting. I was cutting cardboard for my shipping purposes. And if I focus on the actual cutting of the cardboard, it doesn't go straight. But if I just cut it I can cut in a straight line, but I don't. As long as I don't think about it too much, it cuts in a straight line. Same with scoring glass. If I think about scoring the glass and being really careful, it gets all zigzaggedy or it doesn't score correctly. I've got to just let my muscle memory take over and score a straight line. Same with napping. If you think about it too much, it's not going to work. Who did I miss? Ed Gould is in the house. E Money. Clint Stoner is here. Hello, hello. Yeah. Everyone say hi to everybody. Yes. Who's number one on the crown, on the chat crown? I don't see. Is it Alan? Are you the number one chat crown? No. Ferdo Joe, well, keeps jumping from one to two. Okay, Harley's number one on the chat crown. Or it just jumps around. No, Harley's still number one. I don't know what that is for, but it's interesting. Okay, so I got my apron on today, so we get a good view of the indirect percussion. Because the indirect percussion rod goes under my knee, so it's usually napping pretty low, and sometimes it's difficult to see exactly what I'm doing. So I'm at this level, so I'll have to adjust the camera or the computer, and then if I have a dark background, it shows up a lot better. Yeah, that's a wrong. See, the looking in here gets me messed up. Looking at the camera while I'm trying to do this. So I usually put the rod under my right knee. All right, so I'm at this level here. Okay. All righty, let's see. We won't do this yet, though. We've got some spalling to do. Now, this one is the one with the loose cap. It's the 9-ounce bopper, so I'll put that over here. The 6-ounce bopper is the one I'm using primarily right now. Mike Tuft's bopper. Who did I miss? It's so nice out. Yeah, it is very nice today. Very humid, though. Let's see. I have to watch Pat start a rock. Yeah. I think it's Fruit of the Loom cap reward. Fruit of the Loom cap? I don't know. Maybe so. Clint Stoner says, "Hey Patrick, any chance you could attempt a Bolin E notch at some point? It's the current Reddit challenge point. I think I've done one already. Let me see. I already done it. Let's see. I'm gonna look up Jack Crafty E notch. You might say, no, brand new one. I already saw that one 4 times. If you've already seen that one 4 times, put it in the comments section that you've already seen it. Because I think that I have already done it, and you may have not seen it. Yeah, I did a Thebes. 2 of them. I did two Thebes E notches. Okay, one video 1442, and then video 893. They're 2 different. One is Buffalo River, and the other one is looks like some sort of coastal plains church. Flint River, maybe. Okay, 1442 and 893. Those are the 2 videos, the 2 top ones that come up. And I have a no talk E notch 1443. So if you don't like the way I sound, which is pretty typical, you can watch 1443. There's no talk. You mean you got videos where you don't act like a stupid fool? Yeah, I do. Well, I might still act like a stupid fool, but I don't talk about it. Right? Yeah. Hey, I got a lot of videos on different stuff, right? I need to do more of these. I need to do more of this one, that part 2 one. See the expanding notches in the church? Narrow entry expanding notch. I need to do more of those and start getting away from all this Cody complex, Scotts Bluff and Eden types. They're so monotonous. You posted a Thebes, yeah. Clint says I posted a Thebes. Mike is still making boppers. Yes. Yeah, gotta wait to break the rock until the whiners leave. Yeah, because some people say, I saw the Flintknapping hashtag, and I don't see no Flintknapping. So bye. So when all those guys leave, then I can start napping. Yeah, it's a running joke on the channel. Yeah, I do that on some of my videos too. Jesse says I'm late to the party, but working remote today. Okay, the foolish videos are by far the most entertaining. Yeah, that's what I hear. Jay, are you still in Cobble Skill? Asks uh, Furrow Joe or damn, I have a senior moment right now. Harold. Jesse says, yes, nothing videos for me. Nothing videos for you. I need help. Been watching your reverse indirect and other notching vids. Yeah. It's not nothing. It's he meant to say notching. Yes, notching videos for me. I need help. Okay, I'll do notching videos. Alina Sundragon says, what about big chunk of obsidian? It would it be started on the channel this summer? Yeah, this summer. Yeah, I've got to just do it during the week, and this week is probably when I'm going to do it. Didn't I? I think I did announce it. See, I don't remember when I announced that I'm going to do something, so that's part of the problem. I don't remember when I'm supposed to do it. I remember that I announced that I'm going to do it. I just don't know when. But this week, because I got it sitting out in front of my shop, so I see it every time I go outside. It reminds me, oh, I need to do that one. Oh, I need to do that one. I get reminded like 6 times a day. Hey guys, hope you're having a great day, Jack. Prairie Ghost Ken. It's great so far. Yoon Chang, hey, how's it going? Hardly ever see you in the chat. Although Yoon likes to buy a lot of stuff from the auction. Yeah. Harley says, Patrick, would you like me to email you a couple of the recent points I've made? I've got quite a handful. I had a question I could not. I had a question I could include in the email for later. Uh, yeah, you can send me, but send me stuff that you want me to rework. You don't have to send me a point as a gift, but if you want to send me a point to rework, I'd be more interested in that. Yeah, I have a box, or I have a couple of boxes of gift points, but I don't have cases to display these things, so they just end up in boxes. You can send me these gifts, but just fair warning, it goes into a box. The same with my own points that I make for myself. They just go into boxes. They don't go into uh, displays or cases because I don't like hanging stuff on my walls and stuff. Yeah. I don't put anything on the walls. My walls are all bare. I don't hang pictures or photos or gifts or nothing. That's just one of my not my perks. One of my pet peeves. I don't like stuff on the walls. I don't know. Let's see. Smallzilla says, yes, sir. Saw your comment. It's much appreciated. Someone asked Smallzilla. Oh, yeah. He's got a channel. Harley's got a channel. YouTube. Yeah. Smallzilla's been busy making videos, says Ed. Yes. Cool to find many of the crafty crew have channels. Oh, yes. All right. So let me see. I got to get started here. I think the whiners have left already, or the people that accidentally tuned in and said, oh, no, that's a weird side of YouTube. He's got a pig that he talks to and all kinds of stuff. This is Mr. Piggles. It's a lamp. It's not an actual pig. Yeah. It's missing one ear, though, right there. See that? Makes him look more real. But he's waiting too. But he's patient. He's not like the guys that leave. So he gets to stay. Yeah. Because he's patient. All right, can we see what's going on? This Georgetown flint. It's flint because it forms in chalk. The chert forms in limestone. That's the difference. Yes, there is flint in America. Yeah. It's not that common, but there is flint here. And this is some of it. Georgetown. Where can you get tons of this stuff in 11-inch long nodule pieces? The only place I know is at Knapping's. It's going to cost you money. It cost me $80 one time for a piece that was about 11 inches long. a nodule. It actually comes in like a tabular form. See how it has cortex on that side and that side? They come in these big tabs if they are gathered from places that don't break them up, like quarries. You don't want to get Georgetown from a quarry. Why would they be in a quarry? Because what the quarry is looking for is not the flint, but the chalk. That this type of chalk is used to make masonry blocks for constructing masonry veneers on buildings, especially in and around Austin, Texas area. Okay, they throw away this stuff. Yeah, and there's big heaps of this stuff at the quarries, but since the quarries got overwhelmed with people wanting to get the dirt and messing up their operations and leaving a mess and trash and just throwing the pieces everywhere, they don't let us on the properties anymore. Yeah. The quarries don't like the nappers because the nappers got messy. They took advantage of it. Right? So you're going to have to buy your own quarry or something. Or, somebody rich gets into napping and maybe he can buy a quarry. That way, it has access to this stuff. This stuff is really good if it doesn't have cracks and stress marks. Stress marks? Stress seams and stuff. So you can make good arrowheads. Not very big, but they can be made out of this stuff. And it does tend to curve a lot, so it is a little bit divey when you make a point out of it. Yeah, so it's difficult to flute or send long thinning flakes. That can be used as that is a usable flake. Let's see, what else? Are you seeing what I'm doing? No? If you can't see what I'm doing and if you can't get any benefit from it, welcome to the club. Someone just subscribed to Small Zilla's channel. Let's see. Yeah. If you want to send me stuff, let me give you a warning. Just to be fair to you, I'm very slow with requests and I don't take side orders for that reason. I still have stuff that I need to be doing. I still got stuff marked November of last year that I haven't gotten to yet. It's mainly paleo stuff. I got to make a lot of different Clovises and stuff. But I've also got to make a bow and arrow set, 2 bow and arrow sets. One friend of mine has been waiting for over 5 years for his, and the other friend has been waiting now almost a year for his. So if you send me stuff to work on, the stuff I can get to the fastest is the rock challenges. Like if you send me a piece of rock that you've been napping, you can't get thin, that's fine. I can do that on video quickly. If you send me a rock that's really challenging, it's a slab as an example, and it might have some cracks in it, and it's a very rare, very expensive slab from agates or whatever, petrified stone, petrified wood, I mean, that might take me forever because I don't want to get to that and do it if I'm not in a perfect mental and physical state, because then I'll mess it up. And when am I in a perfect mental and physical state? Usually, hardly never. But when I am, there's a line. I pick the one that's the oldest first. So yours might be in there somewhere, but it's hard for me to get to the really challenging stuff, like slabs that are very thin, very wide, and you want me to maximize the slab. It may actually be physically impossible to do in some cases, but I'll let you know if that's the case. But yeah, if you want to send me anything, just I should put this out as an introduction. You can send me stuff at your own risk. Warning, send me stuff at your own risk. Okay, because I may not get to it. I might forget about it. I might think someone else sent it to me and then get you mixed up with someone else. I may forget to mark all the rocks and go, oh no, I don't know who this is from. What am I going to do? I don't even know who to ask. All right, what did I miss? Enough of my rantings. Let's see. Ed Gould says he doesn't plan on doing any videos. No, no, no. Okay. So if you want to send me something that you're having a hard time napping, like a stone that just won't get thin, I can do that on video pretty fast. Let's see. Jesse says, I'm wondering if the Mayans used stationary reverse indirect with a tiny bone embedded into a stump to get some of those eccentric, crazy hollow patterns. No, I think those uh, crazy hollow patterns that the Mayans used to do would take them days and maybe weeks to do, just very carefully with vertical punches and that sort of thing. They can even drill chert with a harder chert, or even with the same. It just takes forever, but you can drill. You don't have to punch through the stone. You can drill the stone and then nap around it. You can cheat and abrade it until it breaks through. Also, uh, let's see. Pushy or Ferto Joe or Harold says Northwest New York State has some big talc quarries. Looks like chalk to me. Yeah, those are the ones. If there's flint in there, it's called flint. Prairie Ghost Ken says, I like your loincloth, Jack. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I used to use this back in the day as a dark background. Um, yeah, and we had some Fruit Loops in the comment section commenting on, oh, that's a nice view of the crotch there, that kind of thing. So it's best that I have a nice background for you to see the angles for the angelometers, right? You guys got angelometers that need a nice, clear, crisp background image, right? Yeah. Somebody's gonna say, "What is the angelometer? I need it." Yeah, I know you need it. They're not gonna get it. Yep. Mm-hmm. They're custom made. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Highly secretive. Only advanced nappers can have access to them. Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to get a little biface out of this, but in the meantime, I can get little flakes that might be usable. But you see what I'm doing, right? Yes, no, maybe. Sometimes only on Tuesdays. It's not a Tuesday, so you're not understanding how it's being done. I wish you would show the first person view when you do that. And then when I show the first person view doing this, I wish you would show the front view when you're doing that. Oh well. How many of you guys have seen my older videos? Everybody knows I got lots of videos, but maybe they don't know I have over 2,000 videos. And I started making videos when I was only like a 2 or 3 years experienced napper. Like I only had 2 or 3 years experience, 2 years serious experience when I started making videos. After the third year, I could start making the stuff I really wanted. But see, if you go back to some of my earliest videos, and they're all numbered, they got a number in front. If you look at my videos, there's this weird number in front of every title. What's the number for? It's not the date. It's the number of the video. When I post a video, I put a number so that you can just refer to the number either in your notes. You can write down the number on your notes so you don't have to write the whole title. Like you can categorize them, like if your favorite stuff is Enoch videos, you just write down 1443, whatever the other two numbers are, and there you go. You just type in the number, Jack Crafty, and then the number. And sometimes I guess it's just Crafty and then the number, or Jack and then the number. I guess it might be a little bit. There might be some shortcuts to save you a little bit of time. Yeah, who knows? But I numbered them, and you need to go back to some of my earlier videos if you want to see some of my early struggles, and if you want to see me use different kinds of tools, and if you want to see me use natural tools like antlers, bones, and hammerstones and stuff like that, You go to my Allergic Hobbit channel. Yeah, just the way it sounds. Allergic Hobbit. And I know how to use hammerstones. I know how to use antler billets. I know how to use antler pressure flakers and that kind of stuff. Okay? So I'm not only focused on modern materials. I started like most other guys thinking I gotta use natural tools because that's how they used to do it back in the day, and it's not right if I don't. I was part of that napping culture. Don't be part of the napping culture, um, because they'll fill your head with ideas that you don't need. Yeah, like you have to use natural tools if you want to do it right, quote unquote, do it right, that kind of thing. Yeah, there's no right or wrong way to do it, except if you don't do it, it is wrong. I haven't started napping because I don't think I know how to nap. Of course, you don't know how to nap. I'm afraid to start napping because I can't nap. Yeah, I know that's not the reason why you don't start napping. You don't start napping because you're not used to doing it. You're not used to doing things. Yeah, just do it. Yeah, but I'm not used to just doing it. I want to think about it. I want to think it into existence. Yeah, because thinking is easier for me. I'm just all brain. If you're just all brain, you're not going to make it in this business. Yeah. Doesn't matter how much brain you got. If you don't do it, you're not going to be able to nap at all. Yeah. That's good. See, I like to take off large flakes from the surface. It gets them thinner. So this is a little biface. How big is it? It's going to look bigger than it actually is because my hands are small. I'm average height. I'm 5'8", 5'8.5". But I think I shrunk a half inch, so I'm like 5'8" now. Right? As you get older, you start shrinking. This is 2 3/4 inches long, or what is it, 70 millimeters? Yeah, hold on. I got an itch on my face. Okay. I don't know why I get itchy. Well, it's the season for allergies. Yeah. So I got flakes from this little chunker block. Okay, these are not that big, but they can be made into arrowheads. But I'm going to continue working on this biface. All right, what did I miss? I like your loincloth. Yeah, I read that one. Hey, Prairie Ghost, lots of basalt here in Arizona too. Ferdo Joe, I wanted a side order of fries and shake chocolate. What are you talking about? Danny is very conscious about his orders for customers. You can count on him. Yeah, Danny Collins. I missed some chat. What did I miss? Georgetown is easily my most favorite stone, says Harley or Smallzilla. I've gotten good stuff from Danny Collins time and again. He easily gets my approval and recommendation. Yes. So, oh yeah, getting back to the Mayans and the way that they would make their eccentrics. It probably took them days or weeks to make those, and they probably used vertical punches and not reverse indirect percussion. Okay, they probably just use standard vertical punches because that is the most straightforward way. Yeah, and they can also use pressure flaking. Okay, and believe it or not, if you want to do advanced pressure flaking, you have to build up some muscles. So they probably had muscles build up to do their particular type of pressure flaking. You don't need to build up big muscles for percussion flaking, but percussion has a tendency to cause explosive results, which is not always what you want. Yeah. Uh, Ralph Snyder's here. Good afternoon, Patrick, and hello to the group. Ralph, I passed on your email address to David, and then he's going to pass it on to Scott because I couldn't find Scott's address or a communication between myself and Scott in my emails or on Instagram. I didn't check Facebook and other places. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have Scott's email. I tried looking it up under his name and I didn't see it. Doesn't mean it's not there because, like, yeah, I'm a spaz when it comes to noticing little details. If I'm distracted in any way, I'll miss the detail. Let me check again. See if I have Scott Lauer's address. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, I did type it in right. And nothing comes up in my emails. Let's see. Okay. Okay, what did I? I'm looking. I'm getting distracted by my emails. Hold on a second. Am I missing something? No, I'm not. All right. I did order something wrong today. Getting into those little details, I ordered a lawnmower and I was all happy about it. And I hit the button and then I went back and I looked. Oh, this is such a nice lawnmower. It's a push lawnmower. What? A push? I wanted to order the self-propelled. So I think I tried to cancel it, right? I think that's already been shipped. And it took only like I got back and tried to cancel it within 1 hour, but I think it says here uh, unable to cancel. Cancellation failed. Yeah, right? But this one is the protection plan. Yeah. I don't know about the lawnmower yet. We shall see. Let's see. See, we talk about other things besides Flintknapping, right? So you don't get bored. I wanted the side order. Right. Okay. I already read some of these. I didn't miss much of the chat, except just now I missed a bunch. Let's see here. Numbering system. Okay, I did miss some of this chat. Let's see. Oh, I missed quite a bit. Okay. Let's see. Ken says we have petrified wood around here too. Just got to find it. And red jasper. Very interesting. Yeah, if you got red jasper, you can make some serious money. Ed says, have you seen the yellow jasper chunk that Jake started busting up? I have not seen that one. Brennan says, yeah, Ed, that jasper chunk was a monster. As for Corn or Jared says the Mayans did use this neat double shoulder pressure flaker thing. Looked like a weird crutch. Really? I need to see that. I haven't seen the Mayans the Mayans used a double shoulder crutch. Smallzilla said Fruit Loops, absolutely love it. Yeah. There sometimes we get Fruit Loops in the comment section. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. You worry too much. Yeah. You worry too much. Ralph says, sorry, I ran out of time to drop a video before the live stream. I'll have to post a video later. Spoiler, it's some of my early napping points. I see. David De Lorenzo says, I've seen when you're in Texas. Yeah. Alina says, Patrick always repeats, do you know I have 2,000 videos? Why are you here? Yeah. You know me too well. 11 years ago, yeah, Yoon says 11 years ago. See, some people have been watching forever. Yeah, some of you guys. The numbering system was a pretty smart to do, says Harley. Did you think of that yourself or did you see it somewhere? It's a great way to organize stuff. Well, I was a draftsman in a previous life. I did computer aided drafting. So I had to number everything in some way so that people could find my drawings. They would call me up, "Hey, Patrick, where's that drawing that you did for us the other day? I lost it. Or can you reprint it? Because I think there's an update that I missed." Yeah. So I'd have to go, okay, what I had to use a numbering system because there's hundreds and hundreds of drawings. And if the guy lost the drawing, it's not going to have the number of the drawing on it. He won't have the number. But I have to come up with a simple way to organize my stuff. So in my notes, it would be simple. So I figured out that that's the best way to organize everything. Just number it. Yeah, that's why I do it. Let's see. Alina says, I know. What I do not know is it's part of why are you here in the chat then? Probably to check that others haven't watched all 2,000 videos yet as well. Yeah. Jesse says, if Patrick took a month off, I would just watch some of the 2,000 videos out here, but lots of great older vids on specific topics. I'm glad you think so. Alina says, Smallzilla, Patrick said once he had to organize stuff or his previous job. Yeah, there you go. See, I told you. My previous job has had a profound influence on me for good and for bad. Yeah. I haven't even done any drafting at all. Maybe, well, I can't say that. I've done a little bit of drafting after I left my job in 2012. They actually laid me off because they were downsizing. They were moving a bunch of offices to another city. They were moving from Andrews, Texas to somewhere in Houston, Texas. So they laid off a bunch of people from Andrews, Texas. Not a bunch, but some of us. I don't know what happened after that to them. If they actually moved their offices or they stayed. But anyway, I didn't go back to drafting. Nope, I was totally burned out. They were right to lay me off because my productivity in my last year of working went down the tubes. So I never went back to drafting. I do a little bit, but I still have habits left over from my drafting days. I drafted for 14 years or something like that. And my last job, I was on salary, so I would work a ton of hours. Yeah. That's probably what burned me out, working so many hours. Let's see. Ralph Snyder says, hello, Jesse. I saw your obsidian dacite video. That Arizona dacite looks similar to the Scottish pitch stone that Captain Flint naps. Yeah. I've seen some of that pitch stone from Scotland. It is, just like an obsidian. Well, it is an obsidian. It's just like an American obsidian, I should say. Jesse says, I love the stuff. Just have to find the pieces with no fractures or veins. Yep. Okay, so everyone's been watching Jesse's videos. Smallzilla says, I use my precision indirect percussion tool, 3D printed, same one as I sent with my tools, and it gives me the opportunity to do some semi-fancy flakes, so as long as I'm patient. I see. Let's see. Where am I on the chat? Let's see here. Ed says, I got electric star mowers and they are great. You don't have to jerk that dang rope. Oh, electric star. That's an idea. We'll see how it goes ordering this lawnmower. If it doesn't cancel, I can return it, I suppose. I want a self-propelled. I don't want no push mower. I can't. And I fell for the trick where there's a higher rated item than the one I was going to order the correct one, but Amazon said there's one that's higher rated. I said, hey, can't lose, right? So I ordered that one. But how can a push mower be a higher rated item than a self-propelled from the same manufacturer? I don't get it. That's why I think I made the mistake. I should have checked. Yeah. I guess I just got tired of checking details from my old job. Yeah. I used to have to check details over and over and over and over again. Ferdo Joe or Bushy says, Patrick, I watched the video. Some guy smashed up a blue insulator and put it in a small kiln in his microwave oven for 9 minutes, and out came a blue glob of glass, and he made a nice arrowhead. End of story. The end. I have one of those kilns that you can do that with glass. And I thought it was a separate device, the glass kiln. No, but it's a ceramic little pot. You put your glass in there and cover it with the ceramic lid, and you put it in the microwave, and somehow that ceramic traps the heat from the microwave to melt the glass, because glass melts at over 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. I have one of those. I need to get it worked on. No, I need to get it working. Yeah, or to just get it, put it in the house or somewhere where it won't create an explosion. I've heard that sometimes glass will explode if you don't hit the right buttons. Like if you put it on 10 minutes instead of 1 minute, you're going to have an explosion, that kind of thing. But yeah, I need to try that because that's a good idea. But see, back in the day, they didn't have microwave kilns. So I'm just going to nap my insulators straight without trying to melt down the glass into a glob. But that's a good idea. Scott says, "Hey, Pat. Hey, Chippers. We're just talking about you, Scott, behind your back." Scott Lauer. Let's see. Asper Corn or Jared. He says, "Yeah, there are illustrations of them using it on some of the surviving codexes. Some of the surviving Mayan codexes have the pressure flakers. That's news to me. I need to go check that out." Mike Mason says, "What did I miss? What was the door prize?" The door prize is just me announcing that you're the first one. Yeah. Killer Cork is here. Let's see. Ralph says, "Hey, Scott, Patrick gave my email to David to send to you, buddy." Yeah. Hey, Brennan. Everyone say hi to everybody. Yeah. Pat, I got Ralph's email address. Thanks for that. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad it got to you that fast. Ralph sent a test message. Awesome. Let's see. Let's see. Did you, Mike Mason says, did you know they made a Toombs type auto mower? I don't know what that means. Jesse Yucky Napper. That's the channel. Yes. Let me try to catch up here. Let's see. I'm not going to read all the comments. Yeah. So I can catch up. Sometimes they still call a self-propelled a push mower because you have to push it to drive it, I suppose. But on Amazon, it does say self-propelled or push in the description. And yeah. See, a self-propelled, if there's like this bar, you clamp the bar up and it'll self-propel itself. If you wrap or if you like fix the bar clamped to where it's supposed to be clamped to, you usually use your hands to clamp it to the clamping thing, to the, what do you call it? It's not the handle for the lawnmower, it's the clampy thing. Anyway, if you tie it, it'll take off on its own. That's a self-propelled mower, in my view. Yeah. I can't think today. When can you think? You're supposed to be napping. That means you can't think. Yeah, I'm trying to catch up with the chat because sometimes there's some really good, interesting stuff. Right? Sometimes, yeah. Most of the time, there's interesting stuff in the chat. They still call a self. Okay. Jesse says, "I'm buying a Goodwill microwave so I don't make my wife mad. I will do outside and melt a bunch of beer bottles and make thick percussion slabs." Good idea. They actually sell little molds that you can put the glass chunks into and it'll create a little ingot. Smallzilla says, I got to mess with some of those microwave kilns. I got a good bit of glass I could melt together. Yeah, just don't do it on obsidian because obsidian doesn't work for melting. Okay, don't try to melt obsidian. Just fair warning. You can do it, but then say goodbye to your microwave. uh, Ralph says, I have a self-propelled, self-cleaning lawnmower. It's great. Yes? You mean you hired someone? Mikael, hello, guys, and Mike's. Yeah, Michael. Another Michael. Or Mikael. I can't remember. I don't know how to pronounce your first name because there's no CH in there. Jesse says, thanks. Scott says, Killer Cork, I'll check. All right. Let's see, Jesse, I must have missed something. You can melt glass in a microwave? Yeah, you can melt glass in a microwave, but you need something called a microwave kiln. If if no one explains what that is, I'll try to explain it again. Mike Mason says Roomba type auto mower. It has charging station and mows where you program. Roomba type lawnmower. If they exist, I don't want one. No, because it's gonna run as soon as I get one like that. That's an automatic mower. It's gonna run over something that it's not supposed to run over within 5 minutes. I guarantee. I turn on the Roomba mode and I'm thinking this is gonna be cool. I'm just gonna watch it do its thing and drink tea. Although I don't drink tea. I'll drink it just for that occasion. Yeah. And then I'll watch it run over a squirrel nest or something and watch parts of squirrels go everywhere or something. It'll hit something like a rock or a branch and it'll mess it all up. Let's see. I should say a little bunny nest because I have run over a bunny nest before partially. Luckily, I didn't kill the rabbits. But yeah, you've got to watch what you're mowing. Let's see. Does one need to add soda ash? No, you don't need to add soda ash to the microwave kilns. Scott, I didn't email you, but put a message in the last live stream. Does Ralph have yours? Okay. Melting glass in a microwave sounds cool, says Ralph. Yeah, it does melt it. All right, so I'm going to get to the end of the chat here, and if no one describes it, I'll try to describe how it works. I have not used mine yet. I've just been saving it until it become not lame anymore. Lame mentally. Yeah. Okay. Harley says there was a guy who made artificial rubies in the microwave using a kiln similar to the one they use for glass. Microwaves are super handy for us hobbyists. Yeah. Ask for corn or Jared says, Mike, I use soda ash at work, but not sure what you're asking. I meant I saw an illustration of the Mayan pressure flaker in Mexico. Buckskin NYB is in the house. Did the Knife River Flint make it over to there, Patrick? Not yet. I have not gotten the KRF yet, the last shipment. Mike says, keep it away from the baby skunks. Yeah, keep the mower away from the baby skunks. They're starting to pop up now, the baby skunks. We'll see one once in a while. Jesse says that was sad to see someone stole the percussion rods and half the rock from your unboxing. Yeah. Z is here. I don't recognize you. Are you new in the chat? I'm getting into indirect percussion, says Z. And I was wondering what type of steel is good. I'm using aluminum and copper, and it's expensive. I know 5/16 and 3/8 are good diameters. Yeah, just get the weldable steel from Home Depot or Lowe's or your local hardware store. If your hardware store is not lame, you can get weldable steel. It's called weldable. Now, if your hardware store is lame, it won't say weldable. It'll just say bar stock or I don't know what it will say. Something stupid, right? But what I use is weldable steel. And it comes in the racks at the hardware stores. It just might not say weldable, but it's going to be weldable. But it should be anyway. Let's see. Mike Mason says, "Oh, sorry, AFC. I thought you were talking about the melting of glass in the microwave kiln." Smallzilla says, "Wait, some stuff from an unboxing went missing." Yeah, I got a box half full. Yeah, because the stupid post office. Someone dropped it out of an airplane or something because it was pretty well beat up. Uh, it was on the live. It was on a video where I unboxed. Which unboxing video was it? It was recent. Let me just make sure. I don't want to say the title because I'll mess up the title, and someone will say, "I looked for that title for 6 hours and I couldn't find it." Okay, so I had to get the exact name. All right, so hold on. If I push the right button, we can get there. It's video number 2185. Right, it is Aaron Wilson's box. Yeah, it's raining during the video too. I posted that one 3 days ago. Okay. Right. I just wanted to make sure that that's the one. Yeah. So they made it. There was a hole in one corner of the box, and that's where I guess everything fell out. Well, half of everything fell out. Yeah. Okay. So the lesson on that is double box it and then wrap everything on the inside well. And if you have to wrap the wrapped items, like sometimes I'll wrap each item individually. Like if I send a bunch of big nodules, that's not big. If I send these, what I'll do is I'll wrap these individually with cling wrap and then stick them together in a big blob and then wrap that whole thing and then put it in a box and then put that box in another box so it's double boxed and then seal it up. Yeah, that's the best way to send rocks. Wrap each individual rock and then wrap the bundle of rocks in separate wrap and then put it in a box and then put that box in another box. Yeah, and then you seal it up. And use the flat rate boxes from the post office. I'm using mild tool steel. Yeah, mild tool steel works good for steel indirect percussion rods. Just make sure it's not too mild because it'll bend too easily. Mm-hmm. Prairie Ghost Ken says, I need to do some reading about platforms today and then start breaking into some of this obsidian I have. You don't need to read about platforms. Platform schmap forms. You can just do it. And then if it doesn't work, you abrade it more. And if it doesn't work, you abrade it more. If it doesn't work, you abrade it more. And if it's not working because you're abrading too much, then don't abrade. Just hit. You learn about abrading through doing. I'm going to tell you right now, and a lot of people are not going to like this. You don't learn by reading. There's no books that I recommend on Flintknapping because reading about Flintknapping doesn't make you a better napper. No, it doesn't. Even if you know the angles, that angle might not work for you. In fact, 90% of the time, you're not going to be able to do it. Even if you know the angle, the proper angle for that particular type of flake, with that particular type of edge, with that particular type of stone, with that particular type of tool. If you know all that, you're still not going to be able to do it. Because the subtleties are what makes all the difference. It's the subtleties, it's the little variations, it's the almost imperceptible variations that'll make all the difference. Okay? That's what makes the difference. If you need to know the basics of how to hold it, I'll show you. You can learn that within 30 seconds. Okay? You abrade it. You don't even need to know how much to abrade it. You put this under your knee or we're using a Kelly strap above your leg or whatever. You hold it like, you hold it like this and you hit it. If it works, do it the same again. If it doesn't work, just keep trying. You should be able to get small flakes. Should be able to get small flakes. If you can't even get small flakes, hit harder. Yeah, I've seen some people go, I can't get a flake at all. I can't get no flakes. You gotta hit the crap out of it. Just to get that flake, you need to hit the crap out of it. Like you want to break it. I had a friend of mine tell me that you nap like you're angry. Yeah, of course. Anger is a good motivator. Yeah, you can get ticked off, and if you get ticked off enough, you can get a flake like that. Yeah, yeah. I'm kidding, but I think you get the message. So how long did that take to learn? 30 seconds, and then from there on in, it's up to you. Okay, just you learn the position of how to hold it, which varies. And if you look at the angles that I'm using, they're never the same, ever. They're very similar, but they're never exactly the same because of the conditions of the edge change. These sometimes I'm hitting on an abraded area and sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm hitting on a previous flake scar. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm wanting a long flake. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I want just a little bitty flake. So if you want longer flakes, you hit in, which is called the in force. If you want short flakes, you hit down, which is the down force. In and down. If you want a combination somewhere in the middle, you go in between the in and down. Okay? That doesn't take long to learn. What I'm hoping that I'm getting across is Flintknapping is one of those things in life that can only be learned through the doing. Okay? I don't know how else to explain it easily. Yeah. Some guys use a lot of platforms. Some guys don't. Some guys use a lot of very particular abrading. Some guys don't. Like the way I do it, I try to get it done as efficiently as possible. So I'll abrade the whole thing, all the way around, all the way around, all the way around, and then flip it over and do it again, all the way around, all the way around. Because I don't want to be abrading, hitting, abrading, hitting, abrading, hitting. Why? Because my brain hates interruptions. If I have to sit there and hit and then before I can hit again, I got to abrade again. I lose the mojo and I got to go, okay, where was I? No, I still got to abrade. Okay, where was I? It interrupts the flow. If I do the abrading all first, I can go hit, 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 hit. I'm in the zone. If I abrade all the way around, I'm in the zone of braiding too. Okay, I'm in the zone. I can abrade that this way, this way, this way, this way, that way, that way, that way, that way, that way, that way. Different ways, and make sure all this weak stuff is gone. I'm in the zone. All right, switch to a different zone. Okay, switch to a different zone. Hit, hit. Yeah, that's the way I nap. I'm in zones. I'm in different zones, and then once it starts getting really thin, it's another zone. It's like, okay, stage 3, starting to get sweaty, starting to get intense. I can't let up on the gas, but I've got to be a little more careful. Okay, so I just did that whole side while in a zone. Now I'm going to abrade when I'm in a different zone. If I have to keep switching back and forth to abrade, hit, abrade, hit, abrade, hit, the zones change too much for me. Some guys, they don't care about that stuff. So they'll go, hmm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, maybe, maybe, maybe. Yeah. How about there? Yeah. Okay. And then I'll go to the next one. No. Yeah, yeah. Mm, yeah, it doesn't look good. Let me get the pressure flaker. Is it okay now? I don't know. Let's see. This looks good. Maybe. How about this? Is this good? No, maybe not. Maybe I should just do this. And maybe I should just, yeah, still not good. It drives me insane to do it that way. It drives me literally, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills if I do it that way. But some guys do it that way. But you're not going to get that experience from reading the book, because what books go into that topic of what drives people insane? Like some people watch me nap the way I do it, and they go, "What is that? I've never seen anything like that." So they feel like they're taking crazy pills. There you go. I can just see. Dang it! I just wanted to see napping. Oh well. Let's see. Prairie Dog Ken says, I've been overthinking it a bit and I need to get to it. Yeah, just do it. Like people have been telling me, just do it, dude. Do it. Where are the insulators, dude? Just do that. People want me to nap those glass insulators. I bought a bunch of them, but I just haven't gotten them out yet. Yeah. And they want me to nap that big old slab of obsidian. I have some. Okay. Killer Cork says, I have some pretty lame hardware stores around here, but I did find some good ones. Okay. Yeah, when I first started napping, and I told people that I'm going to using this to, shape stones, flint and stuff, and they go, "Really? I never heard of that." And I found out that napping was something that 1% of the 1% even know about. So don't try to explain it to somebody at the hardware store, for one. And number two, if your hardware store is lame, you're not going to be able to use book knowledge to get the right stuff. You're going to have to, unfortunately, experiment with a lot of stuff, and you'll find out what works and what doesn't. And you'll find out which hardware stores are lame and which are not. And you'll have to order off of eBay and figure out what sellers are scam artists and which are not. It's going to cost you some money. How do you avoid all that? Listen closely. Okay, how do I avoid all that? How do I avoid it? Nap-ins. Nap-ins. Go to nap-ins. Oh, I knew you were going to say something stupid like that because I cannot drive more than 2 hours away, dude. Yeah, can't. And the closest nap-in to me is like 10 hours. I already know. What can you do? The only answer I have to that is you have to make doo-doo with what you got. Yeah, that's it. Okay. I know it's hard sometimes, but you're going to have to do it. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, good. I'm glad you guys are talking to each other in the chat. That way I don't have to read out these comments because they're not for me. See, Jesse says too many variables. The angle you hold on your bopper versus angle you hold a piece, thousands of combinations. Yeah, it's all feel. Yep. Ralph says Killer Cork Warren Pipe sells all sizes of copper caps for boppers. They are a plumbing supply store in Fraser, Michigan. That's a good information right there. Pat sends a flake to China, says Jesse. Yeah. And I do it with lots of anger. Prairie Ghost Ken says, thank you, Jack. That's exactly what I needed to hear. I know that I'll only learn by doing. There you go. Awesome. I'm glad that helped. Killer Cork says, thanks, Ralph. I've been looking into those actually. Ken says, I'm a musician and I can read about fiddling all day until I'm red in the face, but it's practice that teaches me. Yes, yes. There you go. Someone who knows. Ask for corn, or Jared says, yep, motivated me to deal with my grade school bully back in the day. Yep, yep. That Slowpoke Rodriguez voice is classic, Patrick. I'm glad you think so. Ralph Snyder says, Patrick is a master at sending rocks without breakage. Damn good job. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I tend to overdo it, though, a little bit on the shipping. I do some overkill on my shipping. Jared says, same guitar, piano. Yeah, lots of musicians in the chat. So yeah, talk to each other about music. Patrick, I honestly didn't understand the angles until I watched your videos, said Jesse. Finding glass or obsidian, I can hold a piece at a steeper angle, but the raw stones uh, keep I have to keep it more horizontal. Keep the piece more horizontal. I see. Ken says small. Oh, same. Vox, banjo, fiddle, guitar. Okay, there we go. Jesse says figured out what's working by doing. Yeah. Sorry if I'm not reading your comments in the best way possible. I have to look at each word. I can't really paraphrase. Where am I? Okay, here I am. Ralph, yes. Ask for choruses. Learn classic and jazz. Okay. Ken says, thanks again, Jack. You're a good motivator and teacher. It must be frustrating hearing this from beginners all the time when it seems so obvious to you. Yeah, well, no, actually, it wasn't obvious in the beginning because I would try to get very technical. And see, the beginners like you to get very technical and very precise and very persnickety, but they don't realize that they don't need all that and they can't use that. But they want to hear the very detailed explanations, thinking that's what's going to help them. It's not going to help you. And I encourage everyone to develop their own napping style. Yeah. If possible. If it's not possible, if you have to do it exactly like somebody else, then do that way. But if you can develop your own napping style, it's good because then we know there are different napping styles. Yeah. Just like back in the day, there must have been different napping styles, right? So we want to see what those napping styles are nowadays so we can kind of think about, well, maybe they use this napping style instead of that napping style, or maybe these two napping styles, they look different but they produce very similar results, or these two napping styles look very much the same but they produce very different results, and that kind of thing. Okay. um, the reason why that matters is because there's archaeologists that are thinking that the way this looks determines or it can tell us how it was made. All right. They don't think about other possibilities because they're not seeing nappers who nap in totally different ways can produce the same result. The archaeologists are thinking one result, one way. There's only one way to do that one result. When in reality, as we can see nowadays, there are at least two different ways to produce the exact same result. Two different styles, two different technologies, or whatever. Okay. But there's also another thing. The opposite is true as well. You can find pieces that look very different from each other, but the nappers are using techniques that are almost identical. They are copying each other in the way that they use the tools, but their results are totally different. That is also a possibility that archaeologists and lithic analysts, they don't want to see that. No. They want to say one look, so to speak, one method. A different look, different method. But they've only scratched the surface when they say that. And they insist on staying on that surface. They don't go past the superficial. They don't go deep into napping because they're not nappers in many cases. And when they are nappers, here's the kicker. Some of them are nappers and they think that they're doing a service for the research, but they're not because they're napping to their previous narrative. So they develop a narrative of one one look, one style of napping, and they've thought processed and thought experimented that process. So when they start napping, they confine their brain to that process, that thought experiment process, to produce the result. And they say, see, that method produces that result. So they confine themselves to supporting their hypothesis, their thought experiment, the culture, whatever that's the current consensus is the culture of within research, and they miss most of what is possible in napping. In fact, I would say that researchers are still on the surface when, and just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, in terms of napping. So if I were to recommend a book on napping, you're only going to get a tip of the iceberg. So any book on napping is good in that case because they're all junky. All right. The biggest thing that drives me nuts is having to do maintenance on my copper tools, says Harley. I tried steel and it just doesn't work as well. Bronze might be the answer, but I haven't dabbled with it yet. Now, bronze is going to be like copper. Yeah. Also, for folks who might have a lame hardware store, if you have a welding shop, you might be able to find bar stock, which you can purchase off them. Yeah. Killer Cork says, I picked up some of your recommended tools, Patrick. I bought some from eBay as well. Awesome. Jesse says, all of a sudden my copper wand or paddle stopped grabbing as well. I thought it was me. I ground down the fuzzies off the paddle with my abrader, and voila, I'm a dork. Yeah, grind off the surfaces of your copper tools as you're working. Yeah, the fresh metal always works better. Same with antler and stone too. Hammerstones also sometimes need to be abraded to get them smoother because they're too pitted. Let's see. Okay. Hello from France, says Carrigel. Awesome. Well, you made it just in time. We got an hour left almost. Let's see, France. We got internationals in the house. Make sure that you, if you're from Europe, let people know, like Carrigel from France, because there are people in in Europe that are dying to meet other nappers. They think they're all by themselves in the land of no nappers at all, when there's actually many nappers in Europe. Let's see. Marty says, I can't wait to lay my hands on the Scots Bluff I won in the auction on Monday. It should be it should get you. Well, you live in North Dakota, so yeah, might not be till Saturday or Monday. I was going to say sometimes it gets to this destination by Thursday or Friday, but that's for close by shipments. Okay, Kenyan Fashion. Hello. I haven't seen you in the chat before. Let's see. Let's see. Where am I on the chat? I'm getting toward the end. Good. I want to try to finish thinning this piece here. Yeah, all the tools need maintenance for sure, says Ed Gould. Yep. All right. So, what am I checking for? I'm checking for. I dressed the tips on these earlier. I'm looking for one that has a good fresh edge on the metal. Yeah. So I'm going to thin this down. See, I'm at the stage now where I removed the so-called bad areas and very lumpy spots, and now I'm going to go into the thinning. Okay. Or as I call it, the sweat stage. Because I cannot stop hitting it hard, but the risk of breaking is increased. Yeah. Normally, you would think that I would recommend hitting more softly at this stage because it'll break it. No. In fact, in some cases, at this stage, you need to hit harder because the way I nap, I use the workpiece's mass against itself. As the mass gets less and less, you need to hit harder and harder in order to take advantage of the property of being, or the technique of using the mass of it against itself. What do I mean by that? I mean, there's a resistance to the strike. When you strike, it resists. That resistance helps to drive the flake. Instead of bouncing right away, if this was going like this and bouncing away every time, you wouldn't be able to get a flake to come off. There's got to be resistance, either with forced support or increased force, or both, or the last option, you use the mass of this against itself by striking even faster and harder than you normally would think would be required. All right. I call that the straw in the potato effect, when you can take a potato and jam a straw into it fast and snappy, or swipe a tablecloth away from the place setting and leave the place setting in place. You have to do that with force that seems a lot more intense than you think would be required. Okay? Same with the knapping. You're going to have to use force that you think is a lot more intense than you think is required, because you're using the mass against using the mass of the piece against itself. How does that equate to the straw in the potato or the tablecloth effect? I don't get how that is the same. Doesn't seem like it. Just try to punch a straw or skewer a potato with a straw going slowly. A plastic straw, and try to push that straw into the potato. Just try it. Or also try to swipe the tablecloth away with the place setting there, dish, the glass, and the silverware. Try to swipe the tablecloth away without going fast. See what happens. What you're using is the resistance of the items on the table. They have mass, right? So if you apply force to that mass, it tends to resist the force at first. Okay? If you do it quickly enough, you can swipe that tablecloth away and overcome the friction, and the mass of the items keeps the items in one place. It tends to keep the item in one place because it has mass. It doesn't want to move. Okay? It might move a little bit, but the same thing with Flintknapping. I hit it, yeah, it moves a little bit, but it doesn't move a lot. If I were to hit slower, I could feel it a lot more, because it would transfer that energy to my hand instead of breaking off a flake. And with the potato weighs a lot, right? So if you hit it fast with the straw, you're using the weight of the potato against itself to resist the strike with the straw, and the straw will actually punch and penetrate into the potato. Yeah. Okay? All right. But you got to do it fast. It doesn't work unless it's snappy. Yeah. Okay? All right. And they don't teach you that in the books. Nope. Why? Because they're focused on thought experiments. People that write books on Flintknapping it's all up here for them. It's not in the doing. Yeah. And some books, they actually try to create scenarios that are more interesting for you to read about. Like they'll discuss the greatest 1% of the 1% of the artifacts, because it's more interesting to read about perfectly fluted Clovis than archaic asymmetrical types. The paleo flaking, so to speak, is so much more interesting than the archaic randomness. So they discuss paleo flaking. In almost all studies that I've seen, when they talk about Flintknapping in general, they don't go into randomness or unsymmetrical points and dull edges, and what they call, let's see, pieces that you can't classify as something, undetermined classifications. They don't talk about those. There are some pieces that can't be qualified or categorized. They call it uncategorized because it doesn't look like any other points. You'll find a bunch of points together that look kind of similar. Then you find one or two that don't look at all like the other ones. So they're uncategorized. They don't talk about the uncategorized, but they exist in almost every site. They're odd pieces that don't match the other ones. You know, you put them all together and you go, something doesn't look like the others. You know, that kind of thing. And they don't talk about those. But it's a significant part of the archaeological record. So I can't recommend any books. I mean, there's so many things wrong with archaeological studies that don't get me started. Yeah, I'm not even talking about the logic of the whole thing either. Many of us don't have knowledge like the archaeologists do about specific sites and specific artifacts, but we have knowledge of logic and how to analyze data. We can learn logic and how to analyze data without having extreme knowledge of what the artifacts look like. Okay? If you can go a long ways to gathering good information from a study, no matter what it is, if you understand logic, how to analyze data. Okay? Anyone can learn that. And you can pretty much know if it's going to be a good study if the study progresses in a logical fashion, in a deductive fashion, which starts with a big premise and narrows it down to the cases where it can be proven. Not the other way around, where it starts with a premise guided by a small sample and then extrapolate that to everybody in that particular time zone or that area. We don't want, if we want to learn as nappers what is relevant, we have to look at studies that are deductive, not inductive. Inductive means they get a small sample. Let's see, they find a small sample of flakes in a campsite, and they carbon date the fire hearth that's next to these flakes, and it's okay, 3,500 years old, and that's what these look like right in that campsite. So, in other words, all the other campsites at 3,500 years old in the area probably look like that too. Yeah, that's inductive. Start with a small sample and you assume it applies to everybody. That's wrong. You have to have large samples of many sites and then try to at least come up with ideas on a smaller portion that can be shown logically to be uh, that conclusion. Okay, you start with a very large sample size and you look for patterns and you look for things that do go together, and from a large sample size. You start with a large sample size. It's hard to it the hardest part about logic is trying to describe it. Okay, uh, describe the process. People don't understand the process of deduction and induction. Now, I understand it because I have an engineering background and we had to study that kind of stuff. It's hard for me to explain it, but I hope you understand that uh, that's where you need to be. You don't need a vast knowledge of artifacts. You just uh, concentrate on logic and how to analyze data. And the funny thing is, a lot of these studies don't show you the data, right? Because if you were to analyze it yourself, you'd come up with a different conclusion than the archaeologists, and it would make them feel like they're not knowing what they're doing. They don't want that. Yeah. Oh no. Anyways, um, I tried to explain, but I failed. I think. Let's see. Good thing we only have 30 minutes left in the chat or thereabouts. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't miss too much. Ed Gould says, my son and his wife have a piano school in Greeley, Colorado. Cool. Let's see. Buckskin NYB or Marty says, hey, Ed, so you or I can't read these things. Let's see. Smallzilla says the harder force once you get to a thinner point is something I still got to train myself with. It's super easy to chicken out and end up with steps and islands. Yeah, there you go. Prairie Ghost Ken says, I'm Cree Métis from Canada. We have a strong fiddle culture here. Awesome. Very interesting. I didn't know that. Ed Gould says, okay, my brother in South Dakota has more guitars than I do. Okay. Oh, someone asked about the skunks. Ralph says, Patrick, Stinky, and Louise, are they going to the Letchworth Knapping? That'd be funny. I tried to name, there's 3 more skunks that come out after dark, or late after dark. There's 3 more that are regulars. One of them is Mangy Tail, right? That one's been coming around forever. Mangy Tail. But that one comes in late. I think she's a female. But she has a lot of hair missing off her tail, usually. So I call her Mangy Tail. Looks like she has a little bit of mange. And then there is her twin, but perfectly fine fur. I don't know what to call her. And then there's another one that's hardly has any white markings. Very dark, hardly any white markings, and it's very difficult to see that one in the dark. And I've come close to almost bumping into that one, walking out to the shed or walking back into the house from the shed after I'm done napping late at night. So that one I don't know what to call that one either. But Mangy Tail is easy. So the ones I've got named so far are Mangy Tail, Jumpy, and Muddy. Yeah. Muddy's got most of the white markings. I mean, he or she is mostly white on as far as the coloration. All the other ones are pretty much similar. Oh yeah, question. There's one that has an exclamation point marking on its back. That's another one. So I call that one exclamation point. I need to figure out a better name for that one. Why are there so many skunks coming around? Because I leave the cat food out for them. Louise is a neighbor's cat, but she always comes around begging for food. She'll jump up on my windowsill and start meowing. So I give her food. But then the skunks like cat food, so I leave a lot of cat food out. Yeah, so I got a bunch of them coming around because I like watching them. I got to name them. I don't have to. But... Oh, and there's one with a blue collar. So that one's called Blue Collar. Someone adopted that one. I don't know if they descented that one, but it's got a blue collar. So that one's name is Blue Collar. Mm-hmm. How many skunks is that? That's a lot. That's at least 7. Probably more like 8 or 9. And yes, they do fight when they come around and they see each other. Oh, I know. Mangy Tail's twin. That one is very fussy. So maybe I should call her Fussy. She starts squealing and hissing right away when another skunk approaches her. I'm thinking that she's a female. So Mangy Tail, I'm thinking is a female, and Fussy is almost an exact twin, except there's no mange on the other one. But she's very fussy. When anyone gets close, she starts squealing like a little piglet. It's funny. The other ones don't do that. Just kind of they'll bump into each other. They'll start wrestling. And yes, they do spray each other. How do I know? I don't know. Maybe because I can smell it. Yeah. And they poop and urinate all over the yard, but that doesn't smell. Amazing, isn't it? So that's how I know they spray. Because they don't smell otherwise. Where's my files? There we go. So when I get down to the nitty gritty, I like to use the files. I'm so glad that I started using these because they put a much finer edge that allows better contact. Yeah. So you don't lose energy on the strike. Oh yeah, and Harley mentioned earlier that Georgetown is his favorite material to work. That's what this is, Georgetown. I used to like it a lot too, but I had one bad experience. Well, I tried to make an order or fill an order for a customer using only Georgetown because that's what they wanted, or that's what he wanted. And I found that the Georgetown is not always reliable. Yeah, it's not always good. So my luck, for some reason, that whole project was nothing but cruddy Georgetown. I could not get any good Georgetown. And it looked good from, just looking at it. But trying to nap it, no, I just could not get a good batch. And I tried to order some more. Still same thing, cruddy. Ordered some more, still cruddy. I end up spending probably over $600 on a project that was only going to give me maybe $200. Just ordering stone. Yeah. Nothing was good in the batches of Georgetown that I got until I finally got a good batch, but they were not as long as I needed. I could get good batches in smaller chunks. Man, I was so angry. So I said, no, Georgetown is not my favorite anymore. Not at all. Because when it comes to other stone like Flint River or Buffalo River or Obsidian or Novaculite or Burlington Chert, if I spend the money on it, I can get good stuff. But with Georgetown, I spent a ton of money. See, $600 was only one purchase. I think I purchased like 3 different purchases. And couldn't get anything good until finally at the very end with the smaller chunks. And I told the customer, I have to give you something that's not going to meet your specs because I cannot get anything to meet your specs of any quality, of any type of good quality. So yeah, I was not that happy and he was not that happy. So Georgetown is not my favorite. Not anymore, not by far. Because it's just hard to get anything reliable. Now, there are some guys that have reliable Georgetown. And Danny Collins probably has a good supply. Kurtz. I can usually get good Georgetown from Curtis Smith. And there's probably some other ones in there too. But I just want to let you know that if you're in the boat where you're trying to get good Georgetown and for some reason you can't nap it, it might not be you. Okay, moral of the story is you cannot depend on the quality of Georgetown. No. Some guys get over that by heat treating it, which does work. Yeah, you can heat treat it. If it seems to be not nappable, you can heat treat it. And sometimes it gets good after heat treating. Yeah. I've heat treated Georgetown with good results. Yeah, I don't mess with it if I don't have to. Not anymore. Nope. This particular piece is okay. It is a little bit divey and crunchy, but it doesn't have issues other than that. Those are just normal issues. Yeah, see, in the middle here, it's getting a little crunchy because it's getting kind of thin, and it wants to produce curved flakes. Like in the beginning when I was getting curved flakes, that's not that curved, but you know what I mean. Where's the curved one? I want to show it. Yeah. Georgetown loves to do that. It loves to curve like this. So it'll do that when it gets thin too. You won't notice it when it's thicker because the flakes are traveling over a very convex surface. But when it starts getting flat and thin, they're going to dive in the middle and get all crunchy. Yeah. So I've been thinning, and I'm almost done with the preliminary thinning. Oh, yes, there's preliminary and secondary and tertiary thinning. But there's no set rules for that stuff. It just depends on you, how persnickety you are. Some guys say, "Well, thinning is just thinning. I don't divide it into stages, dude." Dude, I don't divide the thinning into stages, dude. I just thin it or not. I just snapped it. So now I know the limits of this stone. So you got to snap some, and that's a weak spot in the material because it's thinner there than on either side. So it's snapped in a thin spot. I was trying to thin the tip out, and you can see how it's thinner right where it snapped. See how it's thicker near the tip, and it's thicker this way, down. It's thicker there than there. That creates a weak spot. So there you go. Was that a waste of time? Well, yeah. Especially if you want to do something to spec for a customer, and that happens, you've just wasted a bunch of time. Now, if you do it at random, like I do, it doesn't matter if it breaks because I'm not doing it to a certain spec. I can make points out of these and sell these as points without having to rely on selling that particular piece to a customer specifically. I can still make money if I make little points out of these without worrying about the specs. Okay? Specs are specifications. If I don't have to worry about the specifications, I can be more productive. In other words, just so you know, just in case you want to do it for money. Let's see. Let's see. Heat treating is always fun, you guys. Yeah, let me know what your heat treating results are. It's good to know the ranges of these different heat treatments because not all formulas that you find on the internet, or recipes I should say, for heat treating actually work. So if we have a better range of temperatures, I think it'll be more productive for everybody. Okay, next on the agenda is this one here. This is a piece of Georgia Coastal Plains chert, Flint River. I guess it could be considered a swirl and not a butterscotch. It comes in two varieties from Jeff Head. I think this is a swirlish type, although I don't think it has. See, a lot of swirl has a lot of cortex and pockets of concrete and limestone. This one doesn't look too bad, but I'm going to try to reduce this down really fast. I've got 20 minutes. So I try to take off the turtlebacks. So I hit that spot. Nope, that way. See that? Was that a perfect angle to hit? What do you think? No, that was not a perfect angle, but it was hittable, and it did manage to take off the the ridge there. Now, I'm going to try it again from different angles. See, this is what I'm talking about, the limestone within the stone, not just on the outside. Yeah. If it's just on the outside, it's called a cortex. If it's inside the stone, I don't know. I don't know what that's called. And you don't need to know what it's called because it's not going to make you a better napper. If you know what that's called on the inside, it's good, but it doesn't make you a better napper. It just makes you a better identifier of what it's called on the inside. Yeah. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and try to nap this out quickly. No, not supposed to. I broke my abrader. I snapped my workpiece and I snapped my abrader. What am I going to snap next? Hopefully it's not any of my tools. Hope I don't snap this. It's possible this could snap right there on that wood because I abuse these quite a bit. The boppers, they're not safe around me. Yeah. Nice. Are you seeing the angles? Yes? No? I tell you, you got to get an angulometer. I thought you said you had to be an advanced snapper to get the angulometers. Yeah. Hurry up and become an advanced snapper and learn all the angles first before you get the angulometer so you can learn the angles again. Yeah. Yay. It's getting flatter. Mm-hmm. Do I hit harder every time? Yeah, as it gets lighter, I've got to swing faster to get big flakes. That's what you want. You want big flakes, right? You can use those. If you just go trim, 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 all you get is crud flakes, what I call crud flakes. Yeah. Nice. Why are you not abrading? Why are you not abrading? Because I don't need to. Okay? All right. How are you getting it thin without abrading? Because I don't need to. I don't need to abrade. How is it possible to not need to abrade? I don't know. I don't know how I do it. Okay? I don't know how I do it. I just do it. Yeah. That doesn't help at all. Yeah, I know it doesn't help. Oh well. Yeah, some guys in the comments, you might think that, or they might think that I get tired of instructing the new guys. I don't get tired one-on-one, you know. I do get tired of repeating it on video. Yes. But I do it mainly as a joke. Okay, I don't want anyone to get offended. If I offend people, it's, oh well, I don't do it to offend. I'm trying to be a little bit jovial about it. Yeah. Ready? I will answer the newbies' questions. Dang, that's a tough spot. Okay, I'm going to have to abrade, yes. I'm swinging way too hard on the thin edge. I'm going to have to swing a lot harder. It's just crushing the edge. If it's too thin, it doesn't support a hard hit. Well, see, that's the kind of stuff that's in books, right? If the edge is too thin, it doesn't support a hard hit. Well, yes and no, that is in a book, but it doesn't tell you why or with what materials. Some materials you can have a thin edge and hit it really, really hard as long as the tools wrap the edge when you hit. Like if this was a softer copper, I might not have to abrade so much. It can wrap the edge and still peel off a flake even though it's a thin edge. So when you read something in a book, they don't go over every exception. They don't say you need to abrade the edge to get rid of the weak areas, but they don't say except for this kind of tool, except for this kind of technique, except for this kind of stone, blah, blah, blah. They don't get into the exceptions. I'm telling you stuff that's pertaining just to this particular stone and this particular tool. 6-ounce popper, this little 3-inch long piece of Georgia chert. It's kind of a swirl type of chert. It is a swirl. 3.5 inches with freehand percussion. I'm not on my lap. This is a different ball game. This is a different ball game than this because I could be doing it like this. I could be down here like this too, and or it's a different ball game than this. Okay, just so you know. Why do I use this? It doesn't drive me nuts. Yeah. For some reason, using the leg pad drives me nuts. Oh, I was reading something about ADHD. They're calling it the combination of autism and ADHD. They're calling it ADHD. I said, that's awesome. Why is that awesome? Because that's what I got. ADHD. Now I know what to call myself. Yeah. No, you should just call yourself a fool, dude. Okay. All right. That too. I don't deny it. Yeah. All right. So I took out the lumps. Voila. Yeah. Now with indirect percussion, I do abrade a lot more because there's a lot of force in a small area. If I don't abrade it, it just crushes the edge. Yeah. There's a lot of force in a small area with indirect percussion. Okay. Yeah, it's cooperating. I'll trim some weak areas like this. I won't hit it again until I abrade it. But in the meantime, I can work on other areas. These flakes are a little bit sticky. So first round of flakes, it's got a little thinner, a little bit straighter. And I do the same thing over again. Abrade. Do another round of thinning flakes. Hopefully I won't snap this one. I'm almost at the same stage as this one was. When I snap this one, I'm almost at the same stage with this one. This one is harder to nap than the Georgetown, I gotta admit, because it has voids and stuff in it and weird crusty patches. Yeah. And inconsistencies. The stone might look the same, but it has different properties to it. That was lucky. Oh, yeah, I forget to mention luck. The books don't mention the extent that you depend upon luck in order to nap something well. Yeah. Like let's say, for example, a golfer has a good game, how much of that game involved luck for that so-called good game? The same with a point. How much was luck involved in obtaining that good point? More than you think. Yeah. I can think pretty good, dude. Okay, you can think pretty good, but I guarantee you that there's more luck involved than what you think. Yeah. Because not even I know how much luck there is. I'm thinking sometimes it's skill when it's actually luck. The human brain is biased towards its skill. It would rather say, yeah, I meant to do that, instead of, ooh, that was lucky. You might not even recognize when it's luck because you don't want it to be luck. All this dead air. I'm not speaking during that napping. I could do a no talk live stream. Yeah, let's do a no talk live stream. That'd be awesome. For some people, it would. Yeah. Do we have a good views on all the angles? There's a bunch of different angles. That's why I say all the different ones. Dang it. Step fractures. Dang step fractures. That hardly ever happens. Oh, I got a patch of concrete in the tip. Dang it. Come on. Sometimes you get bad luck too. Yeah. I got some bad luck on this one, a little bit. I got a little bit of bad luck on this one. So, it'll sometimes you won't see the defects from the surface. They're underneath the surface. And then you take a nice flake and it exposes the defect. And it can step fracture right there, right where the defect is. And you go, I guess I didn't want to know that. Because now there's a big old fat step fracture. I'd rather just not know and not take that flake. Yeah. All right, so it's thin enough to sharpen to be an effective point. Yeah, it's thin enough. And I don't want to break it. Where am I? I got 6 minutes left. Yay. Good timing. Okay. It might take me longer to catch up with the chat. But that's what I'm going to try to do. Okay. I don't need these. What do we got? Danny Collins sells good stuff. Yes, he does. Ralph says, I spent a lot of time in Canada playing travel hockey. I'm from Michigan. What's travel hockey? Is travel hockey a thing? What is that? Mm-hmm. Mike says, I literally just now found a 4-leaf clover. Maybe that spider bite and chemical lab dumpster will result in superpowers after all. I don't think so. Ken says, right on, R. Schneider. Hey, Ron is here. I missed your entrance a long time ago. Yes. Howdy, folks. I'm working and turning and burning, milling, and drilling. I'm at work turning and burning, milling, and drilling. That's interesting. I don't know what that means. Killer Cork says, I'm going to try heat treating some root beer in Horse Creek soon here. A littlest a time, of course. Yeah, a little bit at a time. Yeah, don't heat treat all your flakes or all your spalls or all your nodules at once. Do a little by little. David in the UK says hello. When did I miss your entrance? About 6 minutes ago. Hey. Let's see. Ralph says you're only allowed to use angulometer if competing in after completing an apprenticeship and receive your union card. Mac Bales is here. Hey, Knapping at Mount Hope, West Virginia High School. Black Rock Knapping, June 5th through 6th. No charge. All welcome. Where's my Knapping list? All right, so West Virginia, right? Knapping, Black Rock Knapping, West Virginia. Okay, what do I got for West Virginia? What are you looking at, dude? I got a Knapping list. I got index cards. All right, here it is. Okay, I need to write down the date. Hold on. Let me get my pencil. Oh. Where are you, pencil? Yeah, I got to get a pen. I'd rather write it in pencil. But anyway, Black Rock Knapping and Craft Show, 110 High School Drive, Mount Hope, West Virginia, 25880. It was June 7th, 2024, last year. In October, there's two of them. There's spring and fall. Marvin Bunting is the contact on Facebook. I don't have a phone number for these guys. Okay? But let me write down. It's June 5th through 8th, which I think is coming up this weekend. Yeah. Thanks for the Mac Bales. Thank you very much for the information. June 5 through 8, 2025. And that's the spring one. There's one in the fall as well. So you guys in West Virginia, if you thought there was no Knappings near you, hopefully that's near you. Again, Black Rock Knapping and Craft Show, 110 High School Drive, Mount Hope, West Virginia, 25880. Marvin Bunting. You can take a screenshot, I think, of this. Okay. Coming up. It's coming up. Anything else coming up in the beginning of June? I don't want to go through my whole list. There's a bunch in here. Okay. There's a lot. But yeah, there's the more coming up in June. Just let me know. Let me know if you want to know. Is there a Knapping in Colorado? No, there's no Knappings in Colorado. Okay. Let's see. Ed Gould says, I got to get back to my wiring job. It's really nice out today and not too hot or wet. Yes, it is. Good luck on the wiring. Jesse says, I do freehand percussion too. I learned bifacing over a trash can standing up. I got used to it, I guess. No lap pad for me either. Awesome. I say awesome because, I'm biased. I don't like pads or extra equipment. Jesse says, did anyone call out the hounds today? Yeah, hit the like button. Or someone's going to call the hounds. Let the hounds out. Usually it's Keith. Where's Keith? Sam Folks. Great to see you all here today and striking rock. No talk. Cool. Closer camera position on stonework. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. I'm trying. We'll see. I could adjust the camera every time I try to do that. Right? So I just maybe it'll work. I got interference with stuff in the way. I would have to do a lot of maneuverings to get a close up or a closer view. Besides, the lighting is never good. Yeah, it's casting shadows that are not conducive to seeing what's going on. Because right there is super bright, and right there is not bright enough because there's shadows. But anyway, this is Georgia Swirl, Coastal Plains Chert, Flint River Chert, whichever one you want to call it. It napped fairly good. It has inconsistencies, as you can see. It has pockets of concrete. Turn this way, finger this way. That's concrete right there. It goes through there on the other side. If I hit hard enough, it'll nap through it. Yeah. It's not heat treat. This is a raw piece. And I, in case you're just joining us, I snapped this piece of Georgetown earlier. It's high grade stuff, but I did snap it because of a weak spot. I wasn't paying attention enough to the weak spot. How do I pay attention enough to it? Well, let me discuss that a little bit before time runs out. Well, time's running out. But to be more careful with a weak spot, like in the middle here, it was thinner than the tip and the end. The best way is to thin the tip and the end first before you start to get that weaker spot in the middle, but I didn't. Now, if you have that in the middle because of error, the best advice I have, instead of napping this direction, nap at an angle into the piece. Okay, instead of napping across the piece. It's just a little bit safer. When you nap across the piece, the bending stress is more intense. If you nap diagonally across the piece, there is still bending stress, but it twists as well. Okay. This one, it does twist as well, but it's more of a wobble. It's not as stable. I don't know how to explain it. It's more stable if you nap into the piece. Okay. That's one way to be more careful. The other way is just smaller flakes instead of long, big flakes. All right. Anyways, I got to catch up here. I could go into it a little bit more. Yeah, ADHD. I think I got that, says Ralph Snyder. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Yeah, my kids have it too. Yep. Sometimes they say, thanks, Dad, for the ADHD. Oh, you're welcome. No problem at all. A. Ron says, I'm a machinist. Yeah. It's funny. There's several machinists that I've known to be nappers also. JF Baird is here. Hello, everyone. And Mr. Blank, hope all is good. All is good, except I've got to end the live stream. I love Georgia Swirl Raw. Yes. I don't know if I love it, but it's good. It's good. It looks beautiful if you can get something out of it. Yeah, release the hounds and hit the like button. Let's see. It's a good stream, Patrick, says Harley. I sent you an email wishing you a good rest of your day. Thank you. Thank you. All right. That's the end of the chat as far as I can see. I've caught up. Yeah. All right. Good to see everybody. This has been the Wednesday live stream where I used to do channel news, but now I do napping. But I also nap now on every live stream. I have 3 live streams a week. Each are 2 hours. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday is 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday is 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern. Friday is 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully you can, if you missed it this time, like Jeff Baird, he came in at the last minute or after the last minute. The next live stream is Friday. Yeah, so you can catch the whole thing if that's what you're into. I nap at every live stream, but I don't start napping right away, so it could annoy people. If you're just tuning in and you want to see only napping, just watch my videos because during the live stream it's all chaotic. Yeah, you may not see the napping you want to see, and you might not see enough of it. But I still tried to do some napping during the live stream. Okay. Again, good to see everybody. Thank you. And we'll see you on the next live stream. Alrighty. Bye-bye.